Hello.
How's it going?
Not bad. How's it going with you?
Oh, pretty good. Just you're my first call here for the day of five back to back. So you get me when I'm
Right.
fresh. I'm not swearing as much yet. My voice is clear. So this is good. That is excellent.
Okay.
Okay, so what's going on here? You are actually you're basically the sales manager for Paul and Elizabeth at this
Yes.
point.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
so fill me in. How are things going here? By the way, I'm like trying to pick a
Go
paint
ahead.
colors to just
No,
ignore this
my
obnoxious
mom,
hay.
my house, yeah, my house looks like that. My parents' house looks like that. Don't worry about it. It's all right.
Yeah.
Paint splotches all over. I got you.
Yeah, I keep trying to
Um,
like just
do
move my head.
you have a pad of paper? Give me one second. Do you have a pad of paper? Okay, so I can take notes. It's going well. I mean, we did the group training. I think we had, I think 14 we did our group, the whole thing.
Right.
We did our group interview. I picked, I think, 8 out of the 14, and we actually launched technically one out of it. But
Okay.
then I hired 2 other guys that we know that Dave knows through Premier Lightings, and then a guy that's very connected in the commercial side of the business, and the
Okay.
guy that sold for Paul before.
Gotcha.
So I didn't really have a good crop of people that applied for, but obviously it was our first time doing it.
Sure.
And I think this time we're actually going to take the realm of difference of as in going, thank you, Liz, as in going and me calling them. So
Right.
going, because we have our ad on Indeed,
Yeah.
and actually going to pick out who I want to call.
Okay.
So instead of having people come to us, because we got 7 more off the ad,
Yep.
and 3 of them didn't know what they applied for. The other 2 of them didn't know about commission jobs. They didn't know if they wanted to take them. And
Sure.
then the other guy was like, I already make $250,000. And I was like, why the hell did you apply?
Right.
So, I was like, why are you applying? He's like, well, I didn't mean, I guess I applied for something that didn't matter to it.
Sure.
So out of that last 7 group we had, I didn't even bring anybody in to meet
Okay.
to do the group interview. But that's why now I think on Fridays when I'm gonna spend about 5 hours just on Friday, and then literally go as much as I can and get hopefully 15 to 20 people in it. So
Okay. So basically, then, kind of what I'd like to do with you here today is a couple things. So, one, I'd like to just kind of review the whole basis of recruiting because everybody goes
okay,
into it with their own preconceived notions of what they should or shouldn't be doing. So, just to kind of talk about some of the expectations and what to do and not do, and then just kind of
okay,
explore kind of your experience with the previous batch and just kind of break it down a little bit and see kind of what we can do moving forward to get more people in, get more people accepted. So,
okay,
a couple things here is if you're following the system, you should be calling any applications that you guys get in. You should be calling each of those people within 24 hours. So
oh,
definitely
okay,
reach out. Because here's what happens is, first of all, when people apply for a job, they're not just applying for your job. They're online applying for anything that sounds like they might be willing to do it. Okay?
hmm,
So if you wait for them to call you, you're maybe only getting 15% of the responses that you would get if you proactively went after those people. Okay?
okay,
Think about it like lead generation in this business in general. If you wait for
okay,
people to call your office, you're going to get a
right,
couple leads, but not nearly what you'd get if you went out and went after them, right?
okay, yes, ma'am.
So kind of think about it like that, first of all. Second is don't prejudge. So sometimes you're going to log in and look at the applications and you're going to be like, this asshole, what's this guy?
Right,
Like, why is this person? This person's probably not going to be right. Don't do
okay,
that because remember, the most unexpected people will rise to the top and take this position. And so you're doing yourself a disservice if you go through and based on the information that you see, kind of disqualify them. And
hmm,
that can be hard to do because I know
gotcha,
exactly what it's like. You look at people that do well in this business and you feel like you have an idea of what kind of personality they have, how old they are, what kind of work
hmm.
experience they've had. But remember, anybody can do this job. Do you believe
Right, I
that?
came into it. I mean, yeah, I came into it not knowing anything about roofing, but I went into
Look
it and
at
got my
me.
skills. So, right?
Yeah, like, right? And so had somebody been like a 22-year-old girl who sold knives, like, okay, I had sales experience in the back end.
I got you.
But you'd never look at someone like me and be like, yeah, she's going to go out and sell roof store to do it, right? So
Mhm.
So there's things like that where if you can just kind of challenge yourself to let go of the preconceived notions and just schedule anybody unless they are super obvious, like a no. For example,
Gotcha.
some lady who's like 59 and has worked at the grocery store like for her whole life. Obviously, like something like that is going to be pretty obvious. Somebody like that's not going to work. Or if you have somebody who just is like barely speaks English, or you have somebody who their application is so misspelled, you're like, I would not pay this person to vacuum the floors at night at my office. Okay.
Gotcha.
Apart from that, schedule everybody. Schedule.
Okay.
Because what's going to happen is people are going to surprise you. And the more people that you allow to come in, remember at this point, the game has changed for you, because before you had to find people who had that special sauce, right? Like that salesy DNA or whatever. Because without a structured training, you had to kind of rely on these people's previous experience and natural ability to get them there.
Okay.
The game has changed. You guys now have a legitimate training system that you and I both know. Anybody who is simply smart enough to tie their own shoes that can talk to people, if they follow that program, they're going to do well.
It's a great program. Just to throw that out there, good job on it. I mean,
thank you.
I wish I would have had it when I started, but obviously
no
I had
shit.
experience. So, but
for sure,
it's okay.
Well, I appreciate that feedback. But yeah, it kind of goes like this, and I've used this analogy before, so if you've heard me say it on a video or something, I apologize, but this is not a trick question. Dustin, if I were to send you into my kitchen right now and said, hey, Dustin, are you a baker? Could you whip me up a cake from scratch off the top of your head?
Yes.
You could?
Yeah, it's pretty bad. I could.
Damn it.
So, yeah.
Okay.
But, yes.
You get where I'm going with this. If you were not a baker, the average person, right, you'd be like, no. But
yes.
You're smart. So if I gave you a box of Betty Crocker cake mix that had 3 steps on the back and I gave it to you, even if you were the dumbest person in the world, you'd be able to go into my kitchen and make that cake, right?
I agree. Yes, ma'am.
So now that you guys have a system and a structure for training, anybody who is willing, and I know I'm beating you over the head with this, but it's so important to internalize, anyone who is simply willing to do this job now can do this job.
Okay.
You don't have to look for people who are able to do it anymore. So that's kind of mindset number 1, just kind of opening your mind to the possibilities, because people will surprise you. And remember, it doesn't take you any more time to interview 15 people than it does 10. Even if 5 of those people you're like, you know what I mean?
It doesn't, because I'm talking to the mass. So
exactly. So just let the cream rise to the top. And the same goes for training. Hire, Dustin, this is going to sound crazy. Hire everybody, almost. 95% of the people, just accept them because you don't know. And just like with the interview now, you're not training people one by one. You're not taking them by the hand for 5 weeks and trying to show them how to do everything. So if you hire 15 people and the 5, you're just like, I don't really know if these people are all right. Let them come to training, because whether you're training 15 people or 10, you're still doing the training. It's not taking you any longer, right?
Yes.
And then
I agree with doing that.
Bingo. So again, this is all kind of a byproduct of where you were mentally before, having to do everything individually, having to count on each individual. Because with training, you're like, I'm not going to hire these 5 people if I think that maybe they can't do it, because it was a huge investment of your time for each of those people.
Yes.
It's not that anymore. So let them come. Hire them. Right? And again, use your gut. If somebody's just like super shady, really stupid, or like, the obvious disqualifiers, like I said, senior citizen, somebody who's just not going to be able to physically do this job or something like that.
Gotcha.
Apart from that, hire them. Just see what happens. Okay.
And just, I don't know if it's just because I grew up in Edmond, Oklahoma, but appearance is a big thing to me too, though.
Sure.
I mean, I didn't know if does that qualify, or we just like, screw it, let them go? We're going to buy their shirts for them.
It's 2015. That's my opinion. Does anybody really give a shit for the most part what people look like? Now, that being said, I mean, what are we talking about here? Like, do you have somebody that's sticking out in your mind that you're just like, this person looked like a homeless guy? Like,
Yeah, I mean, the guy can. I mean, obviously, I don't. I mean, I've made a lot of money doing this, but obviously I
sure.
do. But it's like the guy came in. I mean, we'd say don't. I mean, like jean shorts kind of thing and stuff like that. And obviously, we can change that. But he came in. He was driving the. And I say this wrong, but it's in Southside. You ever been to Oklahoma?
No.
Been to Oklahoma? Okay, Southside Oklahoma City is not a nice place.
Okay.
And he came in. He drove a jalopy. I mean, it was a busted down. Obviously, that was the reason why he no longer works for me, is because the car broke down.
Right.
And then it's just appearance-wise, and that's what me and Paul working, because we handle, like, the customers we deal with aren't just your normal 3-tab roof people.
Right.
We are dealing with $500,000 houses.
Right.
That obviously, if that kid walked up to my parents' house that lives in a $500,000 house, they wouldn't let him inside. They'd
right.
be done. So I mean, that's what my asking with appearance-wise is that something that obviously don't. What do you want to call that? Don't judge.
Right.
But I mean, is that something that we look at also?
I would say yes.
Okay.
I know a second ago I was like, well, no, but I'm talking, when you said that initially, I was thinking piercings, tattoos. Hey, Liz, I see your hip over there.
What?
We are snobs.
Oh, yeah, I was honest. That's what I explained it to her.
Okay.
I was like, dealing with we were. So, and that's the thing, is like, that's because obviously Paul's really good about appearance. Me,
sure.
He's like, doesn't get you in the gym. Because I mean, I used to power lift, blah blah blah, and now it's to the point to where he wants all his employees to be in shape. He wants them to look good, be presentable, and that's something that we strive on as dealing with those customers. And that's why I'm asking you if that's okay to do.
Absolutely.
In a certain sense.
And here's what I would kind of recommend with that. So, first of all, like I said, follow your gut here. Like, if you really don't feel comfortable with somebody representing your company, that's kind of an obvious thing. Now,
gotcha.
There are two sides of the coin, though, to look at. Because one, somebody who is just maybe has hit rock bottom, needs to make a change, and is driven to make something happen. This is, if there is no opportunity quite like this one for somebody to go from zero to hero if they really want to.
Right.
But if you feel like personality-wise, talking to them, like despite their appearance, you really feel like you could give this person a chance, then maybe what you say to them is like, Travis, I got to be honest with you, dude. Like, I sincerely feel like you could really do well at this position. Like, I think that you are sharp. You've got a very welcoming, warm personality. You're personable. But can I be really honest with you here? And this is not meant to be an insult. They'll say, yes, go ahead. Say, one thing that's really important for our company is how we represent and how our people represent our company. Because we're dealing with $500,000 homes, people are trusting us to deal with their most important asset, their home. So unfortunately, call it fair, call it unfair, but people judge books by their cover, don't they? Yes. So you can just say, I got to be honest here. You're coming in jean shorts and just kind of looking very, very casual, kind of like you're getting ready to go mow your lawn. And I'm not trying to say that to be an insult. Some people just, clothing and outward appearance just isn't as important as other things, which is totally fine. In business, though, we have to play the game. And the game is people will judge you on your appearance. So here's the deal. I want to give you an opportunity here. I really sincerely believe that you could do well. I want to give you a chance to do it. If I were to offer you this position, though, could I count on you to kind of clean up the appearance? Can I make some suggestions about what to wear? And he might be like, yes, absolutely. And if he's serious, he'll go straight to the mall and buy himself a polo, khakis, boots. And if he's like, dude, I honestly am broke. Like, I cannot.
I'm going to buy his, okay. I see what you're saying. Okay.
Right? And then at that point, you can make a decision, Dustin, because if you really want to give this guy an opportunity, what's it for you to give him a $100 gift card to go to Kohl's, get himself a uniform, something that'll work, and worst case scenario, like, nothing happens and you wasted $100. But like I said, these are the people who, if they really are in that position and they're that driven to make this work, they might be your best top player. You just don't know. Okay. So does that kind of give you some idea of how to handle that?
Absolutely. So, because that's what we were talking about. We had, obviously we had this, the guy that we were talking about just off the top of my head.
Yeah.
I brought him in there. I launched him. He actually called me at 6 o'clock in the morning, said his car broke down. So I was like, man, I'm going to be honest with you. I can't use it. If you don't have a drive, and then I figured out what he drove, and I'm like, okay, like, I mean, if you're going to park down the street, please park down the street and walk, figure that out.
Right.
But that was the big thing. And I was like, man, because he was like one of those young kids. His wife was, or his girlfriend, wife, whoever she was pregnant.
Yeah.
He already had a kid on the way. Like, I believe he would have been good at it, but he didn't represent what we wanted as a salesman in the company.
And that's, you have to make a tough decision.
Okay. So that's just one of those things, obviously you follow the gut. But if I can go say, hey, I'll buy you a couple of pairs of, golf shorts or a pair of jeans that look nice.
Right.
And a pair of shoes, and we supplied the shirts, so you don't have to worry about that.
Exactly.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure that's something we were able to do at some point, but obviously if he comes in and he looks like that, then that's where I'm kind of going.
Sure.
So.
And you know what? If you want to also, you don't have to eat that $100. If he works out, use it as a draw.
Right.
On his next paycheck, deduct $100 or
Gotcha.
whatever, But
okay.
That's just kind of a way to still not lose out on opportunities and be able to give people an opportunity without something as silly as their pants look like shit. I don't want them to work. You know what I mean?
Understandable. And I didn't want to be, to sound like that asshole.
Right. I know, and it can be tricky.
Does that, but I've grown up in a different part of life. My clothes have always been nice. My parents worked hard for them,
Sure.
And that was the thing we were talking to Paul. Paul's the same way, and I've literally, since I've been here, he's always been dressed up every damn day.
Yep.
I'm like, Paul, can you take a day down?
Just relax, bro. Where are your sweatpants at?
Right?
See, girls are lucky we can wear leggings.
You get to wear leggings and it still looks nice, right? That's what my girlfriend does her job every day.
All day, every day.
We're supposed to wear suits, right? It's horrible. But I asked him if we could wear shorts, and he was like, as long as they're nice. All we wear is the golf shorts.
Right.
Nice pressed, one single line, no plats or pleats or whatever. But
pleats.
That's something that's there. And right. God, it's so bad. You just look like that nasty car salesman.
It's not good.
But that's what we were looking for. It was horrible. Like, I was car salesman. I looked at the older guys that sold cars.
Yeah.
And they'd be wearing pleats. And I'm like, guys, come on, man. Straight legged.
1980s called. They'd like their terrible fashion back.
So if you say that, obviously we look at that, and you're saying hire everyone. And obviously I agree with that, because I think that's where me and Paul went wrong talking about it.
Yeah.
We brought everybody in after the group interview, brought them in for the sit down.
Yep.
And then obviously to go on to the next stage of training. And there was, obviously we let 3 people out of that group go and then bring them to training. Yeah. Because that's what me and Paul I think that's how our minds thought about it.
Sure.
But obviously it wouldn't have taken me anymore to give them a book and say, hey, we're going to train you. And then after that, if it's for you, it's not.
Exactly.
I had 2 people leave during training because it wasn't for them.
Okay.
Because I said, you're going to make them pay your deductible. You're going to have to go out there, blah, blah, blah. And the guy was like, why are we paying the deductible? Nobody else does. I was like, because we believe in paying your deductible. Like, that's the, blah, blah, blah.
It's the law.
It's the law, right? And that's what we had a conversation about. He's like, it's not the law. I didn't pay my deductible. I was like, because you didn't get caught.
Right.
I mean, you didn't break the law, but it just didn't get caught. So he left. But that's where I think I went wrong, was not allowing, because, I could have had 20 some odd people in the interview.
Yeah.
And 20 some people into the group training. They could have surprised me. And I think that's what bothers me the most now, is I didn't.
Right.
Because I only launched truly 1 out of my training. I only launched 1.
Yeah.
And then I brought the other 2 guys that we knew in for training. And then we trained for 3 days. Because they've already a little bit of soul roost, stuff like that. So we did the training. But that kind of makes me mad that I didn't obviously do it that way. Because, Because me and Paul, we're like, well, because he's sitting here because obviously it's my first time doing your interview part. That was his first time doing it.
Right.
So he's sitting here with me, and we talked about it, came in there and sat down and introduced himself and stuff like that. So, but now I look at it back, and I was like, well, hell, we probably could have hired 5 people, and they could have been good. Now that I look back on it, I'm like, we shouldn't have prejudged.
And you know what? Here's kind of a philosophy we used to use in Cutco. I don't know if Paul and Liz have kind of filled you in on who I am, where I came from.
Yeah, they did. I read your thing.
Perfect. So you know that I'm from Cutco Cutlery, right? Originally,
yes.
That was my kind.
And those are just intense.
They're the badass knives. They're an amazing company, but they're a recruiting machine, right? Like they literally recruit 20 to 30,000 individuals a year to sell. So it's crazy. So individually, like Trent's office, and I was an assistant manager at that time, but mostly a full-time salesperson. We'd hire and train about 1,000 people a year individually, like us. Wow. So it's pretty crazy. But the thing is, here's what we would always say in Cutco. there's a knife called the Trimmer, and it's like the most
Mhm.
popular knife. It's like $48 or something. And
Okay.
this might sound crazy to say, but we literally would be like, if we were going to hire somebody, we're like, can they sell a trimmer? Because at the end of the day, if they can sell one knife and we get 100 people out of the year that only sell a knife, that's $480 still. And when you
Right.
make 50% off of that, you're making $240. Well, that pays for your gas for the month, you know. And
Wait, 50% of your sales?
well, I did.
Okay,
You get to
that's where there you
specific,
go.
yeah,
I
you get
got
to a
you.
certain level. So
I'm at that. That's where I'm working up to myself. So
right, well, and that's
Yeah.
kind of how you. It's like, listen, even if these guys sell a job and then they disappear or they quit, it didn't take you any more time to get that one job out of them than you did to produce the people that are doing $500,000 or $1 million. So
Okay. Yes.
remember, if throughout the course of the year you guys recruit and train over 5 sessions, let's just say, like once every other month or something like that. If you
Gotcha.
get one person from that group each time, 5 people over the course of the year that sell one job, you guys are still going to take home another 10 grand probably, 8 or 10
Right.
grand. And that's
And
a
it didn't
lot of
take
money.
me, but yeah. that is-
Bingo.
Couldn't
You
even
got
think about it. Damn it.
Right?
It just makes me mad that we didn't do it the first time.
Well, and don't beat yourself
Um,
up. It's just, you can see how shifting your mindset about now how this can work from how it used to work, it changes everything, doesn't it?
Okay. Yeah, it absolutely does.
Everything's different. So that's kind of just to help you. And like I said, don't beat yourself up. It's just when you're making a decision, think about what does it really cost me to make this decision either way.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay.
So the next thing is going into actually executing. So you've told me a little bit about the numbers here. Let's just kind of review for this last session.
Okay.
Sorry if my voice is lagging. Sometimes my computer
No,
gets
it's
on
fine.
okay, so you basically, for round 1, you had how many applications come in?
I believe we had, I think it was 21.
Okay.
I believe it was 21. My training stuff's at the house right now. Like I left this morning without my damn briefcase. So I believe it was 21.
Okay, so 21 people applied. How many were scheduled for interviews?
17.
17
No,
were
16.
16.
16 were scheduled.
16 were scheduled. How many confirmed for interview? Are you guys making the calls?
Yeah, we're doing the call. Absolutely, doing the call log. How many confirmed? I think it was altogether 11.
11 confirmed.
11 confirmed.
And then the show was
11. No, 9.
9
9
showed.
showed.
Okay.
I believe it was 9. I'd have to get my numbers. It's right around.
It's
9.
okay. Just
So
ballparking. Okay,
Yeah,
so
9.
9 showed, and then you hired how many?
1.
You only hired 1.
Oh no, I'm sorry. I hired all 9 of them.
Oh, okay, you hired
And
9.
then 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold on. 1, 2, 3. Hired 7 of them.
Hired
So I was
7.
picturing the group. Yeah,
That's
hired
okay.
7 of them.
So you hired 7, and then how many showed out of those 7 to training to
All
day
7.
1? All
showed up.
7. Perfect.
Yes.
That is a great show to training, by the way. That's 100% show to training.
Mm-hmm.
So you want to keep track of these stats, Dustin, because this is going to show you like where we have room for opportunity. So if you're
Okay.
finding that something is like way below, and maybe I'll put together something that gives you kind of a standard, like what should I be shooting for? But typically like anything below like 50% is like something's going on. We need to fix something. I'm dropping the ball somewhere. I'm forgetting to say something. I'm saying something wrong or something, or we're forgetting to send out the email or whatever. So first of all, 7 out of 7 to show to training for day 1. Badass. Great job. Do you remember how many showed for day 2? I know you said a couple people leave. That's normal.
2.
People are going to leave.
I think 5 showed for day. Hold on. We got the black guy, the Mexican, the old guy.
The
5
Jew and the Christian.
So I was going off the top of my head. I'm not racist.
No,
but I just went off the top of my head as old guy. So
that's the easiest way to do it.
Right.
So 5
we
showed.
had, I believe 5
Okay.
came back the second day.
And then day 3?
All of them came. 3 came back. No, 4 came back the second.
4 came back, and then launch for Saturday.
Then launch. I actually launched 3 of them.
Okay. Launch 3.
Launched 3. One guy, his car broke down.
Okay.
Like he literally, his transmission went out, couldn't get it fixed, so I had to let him go.
Okay.
And then the other kid didn't even call back. Didn't show up at the office at 7 in the morning. Didn't call back, and I launched Jeff.
That's okay. That's okay. So here's the thing. Like, remember that it's recruiting is different than like hiring one individual to be your office administrator, and now they know that they're going to answer phones for $12 an hour. You're filling one position. So when you're doing recruiting like this, just remember that this job is not for everybody. It's just not. And so you're going to go through, like, this is completely normal. Like, sometimes you're going to get a great show to the interview. You're going to hire a ton of people and only half of them show up for training. And you're like, what the fuck? But that just that just happens. And every single person, you felt like they were so excited. Like, that's just what recruiting is. Break it down. That's what it is. Don't get tied up in the losses and failures. Yes, you want to monitor your retention and see where can I do better, but you don't want to look at it at like individual numbers and feel like you must be doing something wrong. Sometimes you are doing something wrong. For example, I have another client who was just not quite following the script. Like, felt like she just knew kind of what we wanted to say and just kind of went off script a little bit, threw in her own ad libs. And she's like, I just don't get it. Like, and the same thing with the ad that she was running. She took my ad, but was changing a couple things here and there. And she's like, I'm not getting the same results that like all these other people that are members of the program are getting. Because, people share in the Facebook group like, oh, I got 88 people respond to my ad this week. Or like, I have 40 people or whatever. And so I was like, okay, well, let's talk about kind of what's going on. We went through some things. Everything sounded good. And I'm like, well, are you using the word for word ad? She's like, yeah, well, mostly. And I'm like, okay, what do you mean by mostly? And she's like, well, I changed a couple things how I worded. And what it came down to was, when you have a program that works, like, I'm not going to give you guys something that doesn't work. This is all the way down to word for word how the ad is written, word for word how the interview is delivered.
Did we get the ad?
What's that?
Did we get the ad?
Yeah, you showed the ad. That's probably what you guys are running.
Okay, no, I don't know. We'll have to check on that.
Well, log into the Recruiting Machine is the program. Paul will have the login, or Liz will have. And if you log in there, and actually, Dustin, that's what I want you to do today if you have some time, is go in there and just, it won't take you too terribly long to go through everything, maybe an hour or two. But
it'll have to be tomorrow. I got like 3 more appointments after this. So yeah.
That's fine.
I just want to make sure that's okay.
Sure.
I guess I can do it at home.
Or do it tonight at home. Yeah. Like, I'll do that. It's entertaining. I'm funny. It's not going to feel like homework. You're going to get a lot of stuff out of it. So, so basically, like, what I want you to do later is log into that program, and I'll make you an account if you want. You can log in and start going through everything in order. And I guarantee you that's going to catch just a couple little things that are going to make a big difference for you, where you're just like, oh, you know what? I'm not doing that. Or I missed this step. So go through really diligently and kind of see that. But kind of the point that I'm getting at here is really kind of be strict with yourself about sticking to the scripts for everything.
Okay.
For training, for the interview, for the post-interview, the whole bit, because this is what I said to the other client, but when great grandma Betty has a chocolate chip recipe that's like bomb ass chocolate chip cookies, you're not going to make it better by adding twice as much butter or adding another cup of chocolate chips. Her recipe is good because it's her recipe. Just follow it. And so it can be kind of challenging because when you're a sharp person, you feel creative. And I can tell you're one of those people because you're like, I've been in this business, I've been around the block. I know how to do stuff. I'm the same way because my ego takes over and I'm like, I feel like it would be better if we said this instead, or if I did this instead. But when you're teaching someone new, what's the number one thing they need to master first?
I don't know. That's why I'm here.
The basics, right?
Basics. Good call.
So what I want you to do is really kind of commit to going through the interview script word for word when you do your interviews. Doing the training as closely to the script as possible, because what you're going to find is, I know that a lot of it might not seem as important as it is, but everything's worded in there specifically in a specific order for a reason. So it eliminates fear. It squashes what we call popping fear bubbles. So when somebody's sitting during that interview or during training, you don't know what's going on in their head. When you're talking about something, they're like, well, but what if my customer can't afford their deductible or whatever, right? So I have it written so that it psychologically takes care of a lot of those problems for you. So instead of getting people who are like, well, I didn't have to pay my deductible. Instead, like, and I'm just using that as an example because you brought it up.
Okay.
But instead, as you go through the way I have it written, people are going to have objections that come up, and then you're going to squash them. And then another thing, and then you're going to squash them. Okay?
Okay.
So that's one thing that might just help you. And I always like to bring that up when I kind of talk with somebody because it's one of the most common things that happens is people just, they get comfortable with something and then they kind of make it their own, which is fine. But make sure that you're first and foremost mastering the way it's supposed to be. Yeah. So that then when you're rocking and rolling, you're getting consistent results with that. Now, if you have an idea, try it because now you have something to compare it to. All right. I did it the normal way 6 times in a row. Now I tried something different and I either got better or worse results. Is it a coincidence then? No.
Maybe. No.
Maybe. But now you have,
maybe because...
right. And it can be sometimes. But if you're not first and foremost committing to really delivering everything exactly the way that the recipe says, then you never know what your results could or should be based on the proven system. You know what I mean?
Right. And I think I need to work on the phone script is what I think. That's just, it feels like I'm a robot, talking on it. And I'm just not that type of person because every time I sell to somebody, I don't sell the same way as I sell to you as I would sell to another person.
Right.
So like, and it feels like sometimes I'm like, because one guy asked me if I was reading a script. I said, well, in fact, I am.
Yep. I want to make sure.
It just came out. So yeah, I want to make sure and that's what I told him. So I want to make sure I get all the information that I need from you to be able to get you forward. So I think that's the biggest thing that I'd have to work on would be the phone script.
Yeah. So. And you know what, you guys, though? Here's one thing that I recommend is, and you'll see this in the program when you go over the material, is if you guys can, have somebody else do that script for you. Someone like Liz, if she has time to do that.
And see, that's what that's what she was supposed to do it. And she started to do it, and then she got swamped with Dave and Paul's stuff.
Right.
So it got put on to me. So, which is fine. Right. I just have never done a phone script. So.
Absolutely. And remember, you can make it sound conversational even though it's a script. Put things in there that you normally wouldn't, like ums and ahs, or act like you're trying to remember what you need to say next. Like, and what else? Oh, do you guys know where, like, you can do things like that to make it conversational. But remember, like, people who are calling about a job, they're not expecting to be sold on something. So you don't need to be Mr. Salesy. They're expecting, like, they're more nervous. They're just trying to get the information and they're expecting you to sound very official and professional and whatever. So just at the end of the day, all you can do is focus on what you're in control of. And what you're in control of is delivering the system and the scripts. Exactly. And as long as you do that, you're going to have high numbers and low numbers, but I guarantee you're going to get consistency overall that way. So those are just kind of some tips in general, just kind of helping you guys to execute everything. Because I know it's a lot to implement and it's new, like you guys haven't really.
Like he was like, Dustin, here you go. Here's the training book. And I was like, well, shit.
Yeah.
Like, because like when I started roofing and sales and pretty much every sales, I just got thrown to the wolves.
Right.
But also then showed them that I could do it. So then they end up giving me the Hague certification, the residential and commercial. And I got the Xactimate training. And I got all this other training that was like $4,000 of training that they put me through after they proved I could do it. Well, I'm like, guys, if you can prove that you can do it, I'll send you to Dallas for 4 days to get you Hague certified. That's something we want to do because we're going to play it for as a company. So I think, literally, I can say this, I probably did a good 45% of what that system ran the first time. If I'm looking at it the way what we're talking and being honest, it'd be 45%.
Yeah.
So I know the training we went down the book pretty well, and I love the book. Like the book, the book is amazing. To train somebody that doesn't know anything about roofing because it shows what everything is. It gives representation. Like I had a guy up on a roof with the book looking at the hell hit and looking at a hell hit on the roof saying, it's in my matches. Okay, you got a hell hit. So it worked with it. So, and that's, I think that, but I think where I messed up most of on it would be the phone script, actually prejudging, and then obviously not hiring everyone.
Yeah.
So.
Well, and that's okay. Like just be okay with identifying that, okay, I probably dropped the ball here, or I could do this better. That's what's going to help you to grow. The only way that you'd be like, shit out of luck here, Dustin, is if you were letting your ego take over. It's like, well, it's not me. It's these idiots that I'm trying to hire and I'm not getting the right. You know, one thing that I really just want to give you kudos for, and it doesn't really seem like a big deal, but it really is being able to look and admit that, okay, I could do better here, or being open to different suggestions, because this is different. You know, it's different. It's something new, and you can only do the best that you know how to do. So my job at this point is just to help you know how to do better so that you can get different results, right?
Okay. Yes.
So I think that you are poised to kick this system's ass, honest to God. Like, you're sharp. I know that you're open to breaking everything down and really looking at yourself and your system under the microscope and going, yeah, okay, I could do this better. I could focus here. So I think we've got some great kind of pointers here to kind of get you started with the next round.
Absolutely. I think we're going to try to do that Tuesday.
Okay.
So try to get, obviously tomorrow, that's when I spend the majority of my time is calling everybody on Indeed, like looking how Paul found me.
Yep.
I'm looking at Indeed actually doing the call out script, and then going from there and try to get to where I can get the training on Tuesday, or get them in for the interview on Tuesday, and then moving the training from Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and obviously launch them Saturday.
Sure.
So.
Yep.
I don't know if that's something that's good. If you think that's good, obviously, I don't know. That's why I was asking, is that something we should do? Or...
Well, I think that, so I love training Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. That's how I have it set up. I tell you guys to do it that way, because you get the first full weekend of inspection. So you just get a big, it's perfect to do it that way. So yes. And then the next step is, it's very important to get people as soon as possible, like within 2 to 5 days from the time that they're hired to the time they sit in training, they show up.
Okay. 2 to 5 days. Okay.
Yeah, because the longer that you wait, the lower your retention is going to be naturally. So you want to just boom, 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 boom. Application comes in, you're calling them. You know that you get them set up for the interview, you confirm it. They get hired and accepted. They're in training within 2 to 5 days, right? Okay. So I think that you could do your interviews all on Tuesday and try to get people to start on Wednesday. That would probably be fine. I'd probably maybe try to do a couple of interviews on Monday as well, though.
Tuesday? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
If you maybe do 2 interviews on Monday and 2 interviews on Tuesday, depending on how many people you have, obviously.
Right.
That way it allows, like, people who have kids or whatever, they can plan, like, oh shit, I need to show up tomorrow morning, you know.
Right.
So that might be kind of
we can
close.
Give them the option Tuesday. Okay.
Yeah.
I see what you're saying.
So maybe try even for Monday to get them to show up for training on Wednesday. But that being said, though, it's okay to run the interviews on Tuesday as well. Like, people that are going to show are going to show. Ones that aren't.
Because I'm still out selling, so it's like I'm still out selling roofs because we had the storm in Yukon, Oklahoma, so I'm out there with my new guys that are out there selling. Yeah. And then I'm still selling, and then obviously I'm just trying to pick times that I'm like, okay, well, Monday's good, Tuesday's good. I don't go out till Wednesday anyway, so or till Thursday on the week anyway. So.
Yep. So I think that would probably be fine. And you're also going to find in the recruiting machine, like in the program that I'm mentioning you should review here tonight,
yes,
there's going to be I have a recruiting schedule. So I show you guys, like, if you really want to be efficient with this, because you have to plan it out. It's like week 1, run ads, schedule people for interviews that are probably going to take place in week 2. Week 3, training. Week 4, you're running the ad again probably and maybe scheduling some interviews, but you're sort of babysitting a little bit the team that you just launched.
Right.
Week 5 rolls around, you're hiring and interviewing again to go into week 6 for training, and you guys can rinse and repeat that as much as you want.
Okay.
Until you have a solid core of people, because that's another thing that I like to bring up too. And this, I'm not meaning to go off topic. It's a little bit on topic.
No, I got you.
But remember too that recruiting is an ongoing process. Okay. As much as you could potentially literally recruit for a couple weeks and be done for the year if it all goes right.
Right.
In most cases, recruiting is no different from lead generation as a salesperson. If your salespeople went out for a couple weeks and knocked on doors and then they just didn't do shit for the rest of the year, are they going to get the sales that they could, should, or need to have? No fucking way. So for recruiting, it's like, it's a constant process. Don't delude yourself into thinking that, okay, yeah, we're going to recruit. We're going to have this all-star team of like 6 core guys in 2 weeks and everything's going to be great. That could happen, and sometimes it does. But most of the time, like, you're going to need to recruit and train a few times a year. Like in Cutco, we did it every week. Every week. It was ridiculous. So for you guys to have to do it 6 or 10 times a year is completely normal, okay, and
You're
expected.
taking a week out of my life.
Exactly.
You're taking a week. That's not a big deal. So.
Exactly. So, and that's what's going to help you guys to not have to count on, because here's what happens when you put a lot of pressure on yourself without even knowing it, when you're counting on one round of recruiting to build your team. Because you're like, okay, my ad had better work. I'd better be able to interview these guys right. They better be the right person for the job. You're putting pressure on yourself. You're putting pressure on them. And then when they don't work out, it's because probably more than likely you accidentally push them out, or you're not allowing the numbers game to work. Because when you're allowing the numbers game to work, you're not going to care when people drop off. You're going to be able to look at it and go, not, damn it, there goes 25% of my team. You're going to look at it and go, well, that guy just wasn't right for it. And you're not even going to, you're brush it off because you're recruiting 10 more people next week. You know what I mean?
Okay. I got you. Okay. I didn't look at it that way.
Yep. So that's going to help you too, just to kind of, I know I keep talking about a lot of mindset and psychological stuff here, but that really plays such a huge part in how you guys get results out of this.
Absolutely.
And that's a big part of it too, is not having to pretend or feel like all your eggs are in one basket with this. Listen, it's just like lead generation sales. If you're a salesperson, every week you go out there and you generate leads. It's no different when you're building a team, keeping a team, and retaining a team. You know what I mean?
Right. Okay.
So,
sounds good.
Anyways, I just, like, you didn't see that, but I just karate chopped myself in the face accidentally with my wires. I was going to do my classic.
With your hand?
Yep, and then just right in the face. But anyways.
I didn't get to see it. I'm kind of mad about that also.
Well, it'll be recorded, so you'll see it later unless I edit it out to save my dignity. Just kidding, I don't have any. But
I mean, that's that 2 to 5 days into the training. Okay.
Yep.
And then just want to make sure I got everything down.
And again, it's all going to be in that program. You'll be able to look at it in order, like do this, do this, do this, do this, do this.
Okay.
So I'll email you here today, and I'll send you
Great.
I'll create you a username and password so you can just log into that stuff.
That'd be fantastic.
Yeah, that way you can actually go in, because there's a lot of content in there, and it'll help you just kind of connect the dots with everything, I think. And then also, this is just in case, but with the training that you're delivering with the New Hires program, you do have the training script, right?
Yes,
okay.
I literally have them. They're all in their individual envelopes or individual vanilla folders, and if I need them, I have them they're in my book, they're in my briefcase right now, but I pull them out, so they're individually marked. This is what I am. So if I just work down the days. Perfect. So.
Okay. When you said like you're training off the book, I'm like, he's not like just standing there with the field manual trying to teach out of it, is he?
Well, here's a book, so we have that at least sitting right here. So
yeah, perfect.
And then I have my notes to where I think I could have done better. That's what the sticky note is.
Absolutely.
So, where I could have explained better too, because a lot of them didn't understand it. And apparently, the book in there, where I thought we were paying them off the 10%, 10 and 10.
Sure.
Not. So I told them the completely wrong thing. We're actually paying 35% up to 50%.
Okay.
The job.
For commissions and whatnot.
Like that was in there, and I was like, "Oh shit!" And then Paul was like, "I don't think I explained this to you. You don't tell the pay there," and he never told me. So I was telling them 10 and 10. They signed the contracts yesterday with us, the non-compete and all that.
Yeah.
And they're like, this is how we're getting paid. I said, yeah, congratulations, you got a raise. Just give a hard time. So
pleasant surprise.
But yeah, so I mean that sounds good. I mean, is this something we schedule like every 2 weeks, a month, or how does this work? I don't know. So
what I have you guys on, so Liz, I think signed you up, or you signed yourself up, I guess, for a bi-weekly. So that's 2 calls a month. So that's continues for as many months as you want to do. If you feel like you need more, like a lot of people do the weekly call, you can do a weekly call if you want, monthly as well. But yeah, basically I will tag you in the, not this coming week, but the next week. I'll add you into the Facebook group. So that's where all the members are. That's where I post the calendar link every week. I'm like, one-on-one clients, schedule your call. So I'll make sure I tag you in that for not this coming week, but the next. And then, yeah, I mean, this is going to be, I think it'll be really helpful for you just to kind of get to implementing everything and understanding everything. And then just to have a different perspective to get, feedback on and stuff like that, ask questions. So, but yeah.
Absolutely. Because I mean, I ran Rent-A-Centers for 5 years, so it was different, and like my hiring was different
Yeah.
than it would be here. And Paul was like, "We're just gonna have to learn this together." I said, "Well, let's bring it on."
Yep.
So I mean, whatever we got to do to get a team out there, because obviously the more people out there selling, is the more people I'm making money off of.
Exactly.
So, right?
Yeah.
Right. So
And that's the whole
to get
goal.
that right, ultimate goal, absolutely. So I appreciate it. Well, thank you.
Sure.
I don't know if you were done.
Uh,
But I think
I
yeah.
pretty much like that's I think what I kind of wanted to cover with you today.
Okay.
So
Okay.
unless like, do you have any other final questions or anything
don't.
off
I mean,
topic that
You
has to
actually,
do with
I mean, you actually answered all my questions.
okay.
I mean, all my concerns of like I think you brought to light to where I could work better, like the phone script, the don't prejudge, the kind of follow the sales program, hire everyone kind of thing. I think that was a big lack in my part of what we did last time. So
Yeah.
seeing that is something that obviously we can progress forward.
Right.
But other than that, no, it was fantastic. It answered me a lot. So
Awesome. Well,
all
I
right.
think that we've got you kind of recalibrated, point in the right
Mhm.
direction here for the next round. So,
Absolutely.
like I said, just do me a favor, keep tracking your numbers, like so
Will
that
do.
you know how many applications, how many people scheduled, yada 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 to launch,
Okay.
and then review the information. I'll send you an email, like I said, with all that, and I guess we'll just kind of connect in 2 weeks and pick up
Yes,
kind of
ma'am.
where we left off, review how the
Okay.
next round went, and kind of go from there.
All right. Well, I appreciate it, Becca.
No problem at all, Dustin. Great chatting with you, and I will talk
Yes,
to you
ma'am.
next time.
All right. Let's see you
All
later.
right. See ya.